Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Now, I'd be lying if I didn't admit that delivering my Shabbat sermon to an empty chapel in an empty synagogue feels weird. But this seems to be the reality of the world that we live in. When I pulled up to the synagogue this morning, there was not another car to be seen. Now, usually when I get here, there are plenty of cars in the parking lot. Their parents schlepping their children through the entryway to bring them into school, people running into Minyan to try and catch the very first Kaddish. But this morning was hard. What's usually a vibrant center of activity in Jewish life was empty and desolate. And when I got a bit closer to the entrance of the synagogue, I noticed something alarming. There was a coyote walking right across the entryway and through the parking lot. Now, I was immediately reminded of one of the most powerful texts and passages from the Talmud, in which Rabbi Akiva and a few of his disciples are walking through Jerusalem, and they come across the ruins of the temple. And sure enough, they saw a fox running through the ruins. Now all the rabbis started to weep, hysterically, seeing what was once one of the holiest places for Jews, the center of the Jewish universe, desolate, destroyed, and being trolled by wild animals. But not Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, he laughed. Now the other rabbis turned to him. They were confused about his response. But in his wisdom, Rabbi Akiva reassured him. He told him that seeing the temple in ruins was actually somewhat comforting to him, because that meant he knew that Zechariah's prophecy would come true, that despite the despair and the distraught they felt at that very moment, that children would once again sit in the streets of Jerusalem. And with that, the rabbis were comforted. Now, in the wake of what I saw and experienced when I came to the synagogue this morning, I want to unpack Rabbi Akiva's very wise response, in hopes of providing a couple of really powerful insights with regards to how it can help us respond to the craziness that's going on in the world around us. Now, first I want to address his laughter. Laughter is important. Doesn't belittle the seriousness of what's going on, but it enables us to feel a sense of joy and to be human. And I just want to share with you two things that made me laugh, that were shared with me this week. Now, I'm not sure why, but apparently toilet paper has become a very high demand product. Shelves are empty virtually everywhere we go. Fights are literally breaking out in supermarkets over cases and rolls. So one bakery decided to bake a special cake. Now, I'm not sure how good this would be as toilet paper, but I imagine it probably tastes pretty good. The next image that I want to share with you that made me laugh is an updated order of the Passover Seder. Now, as we may know, washing hands is actually 2 of the 14 steps of a traditional Passover Seder, or Chatz and Rachza. And in our new order provided for us due to the coronavirus, we're encouraged to wash not once, not twice, but 14 times. Now, amidst all of the precautions, all of the panic, and the fear and uncertainty, it's important to ensure that we find a sense of joy and happiness. We need to let ourselves laugh so that we can continue to enjoy and embrace some of the pleasures and the humor that exist in our lives. Now, the second and perhaps more telling insight from Rabbi Akiva's response, what Rabbi Akiva understood is that in these uncertain and challenging times, times like these, that's when Judaism is at its best. In the wake of the destruction of the temple, the center of Jewish life, Judaism as a faith and as a community had to reinvent itself, and it did. It transformed from a temple cult based upon sacrifices into a faith led by rabbis, emphasizing the power of prayer and community. Now today, once again, in the wake of our response to the coronavirus, we're finding ways to reinvent ourselves and to meet the needs of the Jewish community. We have virtual minions, our schools or our classes are all being done online. We have our Netflix film club. We're finding creative ways to connect with one another, to support each other, ensuring that we can continue to be embraced and fulfilled by the beauty that is our community, our faith, and our tradition. Now, moments like these are when we need each other most. Please, continue to reach out to one another, and if you're able, offer to help. It's my hope and prayer that by spreading our love and laughter through creativity and by taking advantage of the many tools at our disposal, as was the case with Judaism in the time of Rabbi Akiva, we will once again sit in the halls of Tiferet Israel being filled with the voices and laughter of children, learners, daveners of all ages, and we will emerge from this global health crisis more connected, more vibrant, and stronger than we ever were before. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, a Shabbat of health, a Shabbat of comfort, and a Shabbat of peace.